Good evening, Nigeria. Welcome to Now LN27. I am Morno Balagbubu, coming to you live from our studio here in Abuja. Well, Nigeria mourns the loss of former President Muhammadu Buhari, who passed away at 82 in a London hospital. As tributes highlight his legacy of integrity, the African Democratic Congress is positioning itself as the leading opposition force for 2027. And that is why the focus tonight will be on the road to 2027, ADC's strategy to lead Nigeria. So here is a rundown of our talking points. We'll first start by honoring Buhari's legacy for national unity. And can ADC take a leap, just a little cue from that part of his achievement? We'll also talk about building a unified coalition for 2027, and we'll talk about addressing Nigeria's challenges with bold policies. Well, joining us tonight is Bolaji Abdullahi, the ADC National Publicity Secretary and former Minister for Sports and Youth. He will also join us later on to be a part of this conversation. And of course, joining us, he's actually live with us in the studio, is legal practitioner, ADC member, human rights activist, Uthman Tochukwu. And of course, he'll be helping us make sense of what is going on. But first, let's tell you that Buhari State funeral preparations is in full gear. Documentations, as just a couple of hours ago, was in London, and of course all that has been sorted out. Vice President Kashim Shettima has met with Goodluck Jonathan, who came to visit him, and of course the burial ceremony is slated for 2 p.m. on Tuesday, and you want to stay on LN24/7 for all the coverage. We will do justice to that. But first, let's get to our first segment, talking about honoring Buhari's legacy and how the ADC will leverage Buhari's anti-corruption and discipline legacy to foster unity and advance its reform agenda. Well, enough talk. Let's get to the conversation. Once again, Uthman, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. The pleasure is mine. Finally, you're here. So walk us through your transition to the ADC. You used to be a member of the All Progressive Congress, that's right?
Yes, I used to be.
So why did you choose to leave and move to the ADC?
You see, my movement from APC to ADC is guided on principle, right? There are times in human life you need to choose between politics and principle. And when that comes to fall, you bow to your principle. For me, I'm dissatisfied with the way things have been run under the current leadership of APC. I don't think that because I'm in APC, or I was in APC under the ruling party, I'm benefiting from government, I should not, I should not, be loyal to my principle. I think it's on the basis of that I said no, things had to be done right, and I said if that's the case, then to hell with APC.
Now, it's funny you use that word to hell with APC, because a lot of your former compatriots in the APC feel as though 2 years is too small to do what the president actually said he was going to do. So are you being honest with us tonight?
But let me tell you something, like I have always said, do you know that in every administration, you only use 2 years for governance and use 2 years for politics? Yes, I've analyzed it, and I'm going to analyze it again in this studio. You use 2 years, your first and second term, your first year and second year in office to do governance. The third and fourth year is for politics. Just take, for instance, Tinubu have done 2023 and 2024 and 2025. Now, 2026 and 2027, we are talking about campaign, politics, and merger, coalition, and all of that. Is it not 2 years I just spent to do governance? The rest of the other 2 years, don't expect anything more from APC. And that goes with every other administration, except if we are lucky. to get a proper person to lead Nigeria.
All right.
And I believe that should come from ADC this time.
So for you, let's talk about the late President Muhammadu Buhari. The reactions have been unreal, but you look at the legacies that are just undeniable. That's his bid to ensure that Nigeria continues to unite, and also his anti-corruption stance. So for you, what do you think are the major takeaways from his life?
Let me first of all send condolences to the family of the late president, and also to send condolences to Nigerians, right? And after then, I would like to say that he was the last of his kind. It will take another decade to produce the likes of President Muhammad Buhari in this country. I mean, look at his legacies. It was a life well spent, right? For me, I would say it's a transition to glory.
But Nigerians seem not to be able to reconcile his personal life, who he is as a person, and then those attributes being able to translate.
That's some sections of Nigerians.
Development.
That's some sections of Nigerians. I'm a Nigerian, and I'm saying that he did very well, and his life is life worthy of emulation in all sense of it. I mean, he was former head of state. He was two-time president of this country under democratic rule. For me, he has achieved a lot, and there's nothing that Buhari did against this country that we cannot forgive him. I mean, everybody has human error, right? And we shouldn't fault him to death. We should be able to have an accommodating plea to grant him that kind of,
I think I recall a particular clip where that was after he left power. He was actually asking for
forgiveness. Yes, because he understands that he's a human being. He's a human being, and he understood that.
Well, for most Nigerians, 8 years is a lot. I mean, it's a whole lot.
He did his best.
Those 8 years will continue to shape this country.
He did his best, even under the 8 years. He did his best. Look at his policies. Even though some of his policies we may not agree with, just like every other policies of government we may not agree with. Just like this current administration, there are some policies we won't agree with. There are also some policies we will agree with. But at the end of the day, you need to weigh the pros and cons and see. Look at this administration in 2 years and compare to the past 8 years of President Muhammad Buhari in terms of debt ratio. What can you conclude about it? Look at the level of debt that we have accommodated in this administration compared to 8 years of Muhammad Buhari. Look at the level of insecurity that we have accommodated for 2 years of this administration and compare it to 8 years of President Muhammad Buhari. But this time, we are talking about his legacy. Let's not even go into what he did wrong, because this time is a time of asking God for his forgiveness, so that God can find peace in his soul and rest his soul in peace.
So what are the major lessons from his 8 years as we celebrate his life? The federal government today declared Tuesday as a public holiday for national
Which is
mourning.
commendable.
Absolutely, it is commendable. So what do you think are the major takeaways? As now we have President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you supported him to come into office, and now you're no longer on board with him. So he still has 2 years, to do a lot to change the minds of Nigerians and probably change your mind. Do you see the possibility in that?
For me, possibility of changing my mind may take miracle to come, because I've seen it all. I've seen it all in the sense that I wouldn't say I've had any posts in government. I've not been appointed into anything in government, but being a true patriot, right? I believe that the APC is not taking Nigerians to the right direction, and it is time for us to look at another way.
Which is why we're having this conversation. So in a short while, Bolaji will soon join us. So what does ADC have to offer? Because you look at the caliber of persons in the party. El Rufai, he's someone that you are very close to, and he's someone that's very controversial. He helped Buhari get into office. He also helped Tinubu get into office. So for a lot of Nigerians, this seems to be more of like a personal vendetta against the Tinubu administration. So how do you convince people that are out there that this is not the case?
You see, there is one thing you have to know. if your life is good, since 2 years of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's takeover from President Muhammad Buhari, then you rate yourself. But if your life is not good, if your life has not improved since the APC has taken over power from President Muhammad Buhari, then you give yourself a chance. And look at it from this perspective. The El-Rufai we are talking about was former DG, Bureau of Public Enterprises. El-Rufai was former Minister of FCT. El-Rufai was two-time governor of Kaduna State. Rate him while he was in the office.
Kaduna State fair. His predecessor practically told us that there is nothing.
You know they are playing politics. But you know they are playing politics.
No, you know
they are playing politics. You know they are playing politics.
And
go to Kaduna and
past
ask.
2 years,
go to Kaduna and ask how
El-Rufai has been more peaceful for the residents of Kaduna. So when you compare that to his last 2
I think you are listening. You are listening to the camp of the current administration, because of course you know.
I don't think I am listening to the camp of
have you been to Kaduna recently?
Administration.
Have you been to Kaduna recently?
I have not been to Kaduna, but
you need to go to you need to go to Kaduna. Go to Kaduna yourself and see what is going on in Kaduna.
Us daily with reports.
You need to go to Kaduna and find out. You see, what is going on is this: the current administration has run in desire with Malam El-Rufai, and it is just proper to be saying everything against El-Rufai. If you want to know about El-Rufai's legacy, no single project has been built from zero to completion level. All the projects you see that have been launched in Kaduna, including the recent one that Mr. President went to launch in Kaduna, was what former Governor El-Rufai built. Took from 0% to 90% level, and the current administration completed it and launched it.
Know.
So what are we talking about?
El-Rufai is like a father to you. So
no, it's not. It's not like a father to you. I'm not here to defend that.
No, but that's what you're doing.
Okay, but I'm speaking of part.
Let's move away from El-Rufai now and talk about Atiku Abubakar. This is somebody that a lot of political pundits feel he's not able to put the house, that is his former house, PDP, in order.
He's not the only member of PDP.
Him able, but he was the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party in 2023.
Yes.
He was not able to put his house in order. How will he be able to put
only him? It's a collective effort.
Peter Obi too.
It's a collective. Does Peter Obi have issue with putting his house in order? I don't think so, man. I don't think so. But talking about Atiku Abubakar, by the way.
So why is Labour Party not the platform for him to contest in 2027?
He has not yet
be dancing.
He has not yet said he's leaving Labour Party.
So can we call what he's
none of them had even
party activities?
Well, I can't say it's an anti-party activity. Anti-party activity can only be anti-party activity when you have registered your name on the platform of ADC. None of them have registered their name on the platform of ADC.
With your fellow contestants, supposed contestants.
There's nothing forbids you from being seen around your fellow contestants.
You're a lawyer, so I will not argue with a lawyer.
There's no law that forbids you to. It's just like you now. If you're a member of Labour Party, for instance, does it forbid me and you to have an interaction? Nothing forbids you to have an interaction.
With cameras and journalists.
It doesn't matter.
And with press.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Really matter.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, so you're a lawyer. Let's talk about the legal challenges in your party, the ADC. How is that going to
that lawsuit is dead on arrival.
Dead on arrival. How
yes,
is it dead
because the Supreme Court has said on plethora of authorities that party affairs, court do not interfere on party affairs, and this is political party affairs. The man who instituted the suit is just a presidential candidate.
Talk about it's dead on arrival. You're a lawyer. I will not argue with a lawyer. So let's talk about party affairs. We saw what happened to the People's Democratic Party. Is that the path that what happened? You need me to.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what they are talking about.
That's happened
what happened in PDP? What happened in
from
PDP?
The 2023 elections, the fallout between Atiku and Wike, the recent fallout between Wike and Makinde, and the whole national secretary leadership issue, which has, well, let's say it's been resolved now. Well, you know that took a toll on the party. Governors, PDP governors dumped their party to go to APC. Is the ADC not setting up itself for that kind of drama?
I don't think so.
Why? Why do you say so?
Because you have the people that made up.
You have big heavyweights.
Yes.
And when they come together, the ground will feel the weight.
What you don't know is that these people have put aside their personal interests and brought the nation to fall.
So why, okay, to fall?
In ADC,
But the
yes.
issue of candidacy is still going to be a problem.
Well, they have not resolved that. We are still on that. Nigeria should hold on. No, it's not a problem. It's not a problem. Nigeria
Okay,
should
it's a
hold on.
challenge.
Nigeria is not even a challenge.
How is it not a challenge?
Because they are still waiting to come up with a suitable candidate that will face APC in the 2027 election. Nigeria should calm down.
So
We are two in a row. We can't be
suitable?
Sorry?
Who is most suitable?
I can't speak for the party.
No, for you. I said for you, not for the party.
Well, I cannot say anything about that because my opinion may not count for the party.
You're not
Right?
speaking for the party now. You're speaking for yourself.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Who do you
saying.
think
I
is
may
most
not
suitable?
I may not want to share whom I want to be suitable or whom I prefer to be the party flag bearer of ADC, right? I would like to reserve that for off the camera. Yes, I would like to reserve that from the camera. I wouldn't like to share that here.
Okay, that's fine. Now, let's talk about the whole issue of coalition. And, I mean, because when you talk about Nigerian politics, I mean, you see the whole regional differences. And I think that's something that President Muhammadu Buhari was able to sort of, still maintain. I mean, a whole lot of regional tensions. Yes, a lot of people may not really like his methods, but that seemed to be the focus. So Nigeria is a very big country. ADC has never tested political power in this country before. I mean, at the presidential level. So, but you have experienced politicians from other political parties that have come together. What is the pathway for the ADC to handle Nigeria's regional tensions, which is a recurring factor in our electoral process? Whether I'm Igbo, I'm Hausa, I'm Yoruba, I'm South, that is something that continues to divide us as a country, which should not clearly, but I mean, the dynamics are there. So we're even talking about the issue of candidacy for the ADC. And right now, there's no clear path, even though everybody has said we will support whoever is the consensus candidate. So what's going to make
At the end of the day,
what's going to make the ADC different? Because right now, the North helped bring Tinubu into power, and now it seems the president doesn't really have the North in his bag again, as he had before. Would you agree with that?
Well, partly yes.
Do you think the president has enough as it stands today?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And that is the obvious reason why this coalition is being spot on.
But the coalition is not going to solve the problem at the goal.
Well,
how will this coalition address that challenge?
The beauty of the coalition is that it helps to strengthen our democracy. Because you can agree with me that opposition party is dead in Nigeria. So with prior to ADC coalition, prior to this move, opposition party is dead because PDP is just PDP of Yeson Wike, and we all know where Yeson Wike belongs to. So let's keep that aside. What is the ADC bringing on the table? ADC is bringing a new sheriff on the table in Nigerian political landscape, and it is important that we pay attention to ADC. This is not a campaign because it's not even time yet. What I'm telling you is that Nigeria should not be in a hurry to say, where is the candidate for ADC? We are going to go for primaries, of course. Primary election have to be held so that a candidate can emerge, right?
Yeah.
And all those things will come at the right time. So Nigeria should not be in a hurry. They should calm down and watch out for ADC.
All right, absolutely. Well, we want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Well, before you go, what are your last words?
My last word is that Nigerians should vote their conscience in the 2027 election. Nigerians should not be scared of anything. They should make sure that their vote counts. If you don't have your PVC, please, INEC is about to commence continuous voter registration. Go out there and get your PVC because that is your power, and you cannot exercise that power except with your PVC.
Before you go, the APC local government, as I said, the APC, the Lagos local government elections, I mean, the results, how it played out, I mean, are you concerned for 2027?
I'm not concerned. That's just a local government election. I'm not concerned.
And you feel it doesn't
matter. It doesn't matter.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for being with us on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
We've been speaking with Uthman Tochukwu. He is a member of the ADC, a legal expert and human rights activist. When we come back from the break, we'll be speaking with Bolaji Abdullahi. He is the National Publicity Secretary for the ADC. You don't want to miss out on the conversation. We'll be right back. What makes the political system what it is today? What are the recurring issues? The tussle for power.
An extremely problematic area.
The tension. The instability of the system. Join LM 24/7 as we take you inside the local and international political arena in the world of politics.
The golden age of America begins right now. I will very simply put America first.
Watch Politics Now on LM 24/7.
Don't miss Politics Now on LM 24/7.
Thanks for staying with us on LN 24/7. The conversation continues, and we're still talking about the road to 2027, ADC strategy to lead Nigeria. Our talking points has focused on honoring Buhari's legacy for national unity, building a united coalition for 2027, and addressing Nigeria's challenges with bold policies. And right now, Bolaji Abdullahi, the ADC National Publicity Secretary, joins us live in our studios. Many thanks for being with us, sir.
Thank you very much, my pleasure.
I mean, your activities, I don't want to imagine being in your position right now, but it's good to finally have you with us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, the pleasure is mine. Of course, Buhari's state funeral preparation flags, later tomorrow, it has been postponed, and we'll be monitoring all the developments. The Vice President is currently in London and, of course, working out modalities with the documentation like we informed you back on our previous bulletin. So quickly, Bolaji is with us. We want to ask the question how the ADC will leverage Buhari's anti-corruption and discipline legacy to foster unity and advance its reform agenda, which I think is something that is the key takeaway from his legacy. I know a lot of people are saying a whole lot of things, but I mean, that's something we can't really take from him. So, Abdullahi, now the ADC has praised the former President Buhari as a patriot who fought corruption and discipline. So how will the party build on his legacy to unite Nigerians during this period of national mourning? Tomorrow has been declared as a national public holiday just to honor the late memory of the president. But I think it's proper for me to just get your own personal reaction to this news, and then, of course, what your party wants to do with that, I think, noble legacy that the president has, which is his anti-corruption stance.
Well, thank you very much. As an individual, as a citizen, what I can tell, and as a public analyst myself, what I can tell you is that President Buhari is someone who probably, you would say, has a complex legacy. But even within that complexity, what is clear, what most Nigerians will be united on, is that there's a man who had a strong ethical standards and who lived by strong ethical standards, such that you no longer find in most people who occupy public positions. The man who, by force of personal example, was able to inspire millions of people, especially the poor and the downtrodden. Is a man who considered public treasury to be sacrosanct and needed to be kept away from personal abuse. So for this alone, the ADC is saying that President Buhari's legacy of integrity and probity will continue to challenge us from the past, will continue to challenge us to hold ourselves more accountable. You know, the kind of accountability that is missing in our public space even now, that has led to the kind of situation that this country has found itself. You know, so for us in the ADC, Buhari will remain an inspiration in terms of the standards that he held himself to.
But do you think those standards translated to impact the country in terms of the national fight for anti-corruption? Because I think nobody takes that away from him personally.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people who say, I mean, these were promises and potentials that were not realized.
Well, I think he belonged to different. He presided over the affairs of this country at two different times. He was military head of state in 1984, and that was when politicians who were found to be corrupt were being jailed for more than 100 years in some cases. Then he returned in 2015 as a civilian head of state.
Yeah.
President, sorry. The context was different. It was a more democratic context, governed by different rules, democratic rules, more about the rule of law, what the judiciary is always, everything depended on what the judiciary was able to do, what the various accountability governance system were able to do, the ICPC, the EFCC, probably the Code of Conduct Tribunal, and all of them. These were apparatuses of government that were supposed to hold public officers accountable. Now, people will say that someone used to say that when you want to check if the fish is good or bad, you start from the head. So what Buhari did was he set a personal standard. But the question is, like you rightly noted, whether the institutions that were supposed to deliver on the responsibility of holding public officers account are able to emulate or follow the example that he set. It does appear that in our country today, Nigeria has become one of the countries that is no longer able to punish bad behavior. It's a country where a public officer will be flaunting obscene affluence and wealth that nobody can explain, that she or he cannot explain, and it's okay. Nobody asks questions.
You're saying now that the ADC will be very different.
ADC is holding itself to a lot of promises. We recognized that the political elite generally, the political class generally, are collectively discredited. You know very well that you cannot do worse than going into a room and introduce yourself as a politician. The moment you say you're a politician, people begin to look at you, So we recognize that we have a duty to recalibrate and build a different kind of politics. If people, probably some people even in our ranks, have given politics a bad name, can we start now to press the reset button to give politics a good name? Can we begin to, because it's not really about what individuals are willing to do. It's about whether there are rules that can punish bad behavior, whether we can build a party that is able to discipline the ranks of its own membership and subject them to certain kind of...
So with the kind of individuals in your party at the moment, you have people who have served in government for years.
Yeah.
So that is the concern for most Nigerians, that how do we trust you again? Because you're having a new party, a new vehicle, but it doesn't really change the content of the person. So what do you tell Nigerians who share those concerns?
They are legitimate concerns, I must admit. But the question I ask myself also is, what alternative do we have? Are we going to be able to manufacture a new set of political class overnight? Are we going to go abroad to import new politicians?
What about the young
or
people?
bring agents? Now, this is where we are going. ADC is creating a system, and we are deliberate about this. At the unveiling, the chairman said, ADC will be that party where the experience of the old, of the elders, will nurture the ambition of the young. And we are trying to build a party that will be that party, that a young person that is talented, that is interested in public service, will see as an opportunity, a pathway. Because one of the cardinal objectives of our party is to produce the successor generation of Nigerian politicians. So the ADC is deliberate about grooming, about preparation. So when we say we are trying to build a new political party or a new political culture, it goes beyond just taking power in 2027.
Because that's what most people are.
Yeah,
concerned about.
exactly. But the scale of our ambition is much bigger. Don't forget, we just unveiled about 3 weeks ago. So we'll have to do a lot more of convincing for Nigeria. Because when you ordinarily, on the face of it, if you look at us, if you look in the room and you see us, what you are likely to say is, oh, it's the same people. When you listen to me, you say, oh, we've had all this before, right? The biggest challenge, I recognize this as I speak for ADC, the biggest challenge is how to get people to overcome their cynicism, which is legitimate based on experience. But what we are saying is that we have to have the courage to try again. It's like a woman who has been deceived several times. Then a new suitor comes and they say, look, I'm different. She's bound to be afraid. She's bound to be suspicious. So Nigerians have reasons to be suspicious. But what we are saying is that the task of nation building is never done. We have to continue to try. It's not going to be done in 10 years. It's not going to be done in 50 years. It's not going to be done in 100. As long as there's Nigeria, we will continue to build, try to build this country. But what we are saying is that we cannot, because of the failure of yesterday, hold ourselves hostage from the opportunity that the future presents to us. What is tragic will be that Nigerians don't have alternative.
Now, talking about that alternative, as a country, was so different in terms of our ethnic backgrounds, even though that should not really define us. So how is the ADC going to address all those regional tensions that sometimes divide us, which I think is also one of Buhari's legacy? He wanted, a united Nigeria at all costs, even though, a lot of persons in the Southeast would say they were persecuted. That's just their own interpretation of the Buhari administration. But some could say, that was something he took too far just to ensure that Nigeria continues to remain one. So how will the ADC address some of these regional tensions?
You see, what you call regional tensions sometimes speaks to the very heart of what historically we call the national question. And what is breeding all this, fundamentally is that an average Nigerian is asking himself, what is the value of my citizenship? What is in this for me? Sometimes, more often than not, some of these differences that we call tension are just skin deep. I go to Abia, I see so many Northerners. I go to Kano, I see so many Easterners. I'm from Ilori. Almost a whole street where I come from are populated by people from the Southeast. Ordinary people don't have problems with one another. It's when we begin to politicize and weaponize our differences that those things we call crises begin to emerge, right? We have had our historical experience. There's nothing to be ashamed of in that. Every country has had one bad experience or the other. Americans went through civil war like we did. Many countries did. The difference is that we have not been able to harness the the benefit that could potentially come from that tragedy for the purpose of nation building. So we now left it to individuals with not so noble intentions to weaponize our history against the succeeding generation and begin to tell them that this country has no place for you. The African Democratic Congress, as our name implies, and I must salute the contributions and the vision of those who built this party from the scratch over many years ago, before we came in. They have a broad vision that has Africa, the continent itself, as its scope of the scope of its vision. But a party like that cannot begin to begin to minimize its vision or its view, and that is why it will take time for us. We are building this, but as we
continue,
do you think
you have enough time before the 2027 elections for the party to really mature in terms of its outreach to rural, urban communities? Because that is something that the All Progressive Congress boasts of. They talk about this party structure, even though the last election proved it's beyond just.
How many years did the APC have? They came on board in 2014, I think. They announced themselves in 2014, or maybe I can't remember now. Maybe at best 2013. Then they were able to win the election in 2015. And the same people who were part of the process of them winning that election are now in the ADC.
But the challenge now is they claim that there is no enough, genuine, conglomeration in terms of what pulls people together, that it is not,
What else can pull people together than hunger? What else can pull people together than the fact that you used to buy petrol at 190, now you have to buy it for around 1,000 naira? What could pull people together than the reality that they live every single day, that even if you have 70,000 naira minimum wage, it's not up to 7,000 naira in terms of what it could do?
The narrative they are pushing now is that, I think the word I'm looking for is authentic and genuine, because we saw the likes of the late President Muhammadu Buhari and even President Bolaji Tinubu go out on the streets to protest. Now, since this administration, there's been several end-bad governance protests. Now, some of these persons, who are now stakeholders in the ADC, the likes of Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar, they've not been on the streets to protest with Nigerians. That is, being right there in the field to actually demonstrate the genuineness of we really need and want a change.
So what I understand you to be suggesting is that for Nigerians to be convinced that you are really
I'm not really suggesting,
change,
but I'm just
have to go on the
to
streets
say you
to
are
protest.
in with us in this struggle and in this fight. It's beyond press statements, it's beyond press releases and all of that, but really to be there with the people.
What does it mean to be there?
Because many feel that was what led to the massive turnout.
The question I'm asking
for Buhari.
the question I'm asking you is, what does it mean to be there for the people?
To be there, to relate with them at their level.
How?
I just gave you an example.
Look, you see, every single one of the political leaders in ADC has come from a particular constituency, a particular state, a particular local government, a particular community. And they're all mostly seasoned politicians who have their own supporters, who have their own structure, and who have their own followings. You mentioned Peter Obi. You have so many other of them. Now, let's put that aside. What we are saying is that as we approach 2027, you are going to find that for majority of Nigerians, is either you are on the side of APC, which means you want what is going on now in the country to continue, or you are on the side of ADC. So ADC now becomes the movement of the people. So it's either you are on the side of government or you are the side of the opposition. And that's why I'm saying that for us in ADC, 50% of our work at least is done. And what is the 50% of the work? We don't need to convince Nigerians that what they are going through at the moment is bad for them. We only need to convince them that we represent that alternative.
Now, on other talking points that those in government, have been spewing around since the announcement of your party as that platform for coalition is the issue of your message. What is different? Like, what plan do you have? Is it too early for people to ask you, like, what plan do you have aside just taking power? And then you also have these political figures and the question of, okay, who is going to be the ticket bearer? That is also something that is really concerning for persons in terms of whether if this ADC platform will last and stand the test of time till 2027.
When we started, they said dead on arrival, right?
Yes.
Then we unveiled our party. Then they shifted the goalpost. Now they are saying, oh, give them 6 months. they will be dead in 6 months. Well, I'm sure when we get to 6 months, they will say, oh, wait until 2027, right? And some of the things they are saying is that, okay, how will they manage their internal, the ambitions of their various gladiators within the party? You see, one thing I can tell you, is this a challenge we recognize? Of course, yes. But what I can tell you is that ADC is committed to entrench this party as a truly democratic party. Therefore, we don't have a predetermined agenda. We don't have a pre-nominated candidate. We are going to go into primaries, and the primaries will be transparent, and every Nigerian will see it. Whoever emerges, the party will back the person. And that's what I keep saying, that for people, especially young people, who have preferences for one aspirant or another, or one potential presidential candidate or another, what I keep saying is, get your membership card, so you will be in a position to vote for your preferred candidate. So ADC is going to be transparent. We are not going to anoint anybody, because there's a tendency for us when we have this conversation to revert to our authoritarian instinct and begin to use language like, so who are you going to give your ticket to? No, I mean, it's either we want democracy or not, and it's clear that Nigerians want democracy. About whether we have enough time or not to contest election. I've said it earlier. For us, the people are already, if you ask anybody, I mean, July 2nd to now is less than 12 days, right? About 12, 13 days.
Yeah.
If you ask anybody in this country to name the main opposition, most likely going to mention ADC.
Okay, now, so let's talk about consolidating further. Is your party looking forward to get Rabiu Kwankwaso on board?
If we are going to do that, it's not a conversation that I will have with you. Because you are asking me to start discussing party strategy.
No, but if you're talking about party strategy,
what I can assure you is every single person who believes that Nigeria needs to be repositioned on the path of progress, that Nigerians need a break from what they are going through at the moment, is welcome into ADC. And we have repeatedly maintained through our chairman, there will be equal, everyone will be equal, no joiners, no owners. And he has repeatedly said it, that he is not more important as a party member than an ordinary member in Otokpo. So if Dr. Rabiu Kwankwaso is welcome, he's a fantastic politician, he will be welcomed, right? So we will be happy to have someone like that. But I cannot tell you that, oh, this is what we are doing or not.
All right. Okay, so let's talk about the recent lawsuits challenging the ADC's interim leadership, including yourself. So how is the party resolving some of these disputes? Because that will also affect credibility.
There are no disputes. There are no disputes. People who are raising questions, like I said, are probably doing so because they don't have sufficient information about the process that has led us to where we are. We are confident that we are on a solid legal grounds, that we've done everything that we need to do to get to where we are today. We will be happy to engage whoever has grievances and let them know, let them have better information than they probably do. So I believe that, I mean, of course, there are people who are in this for mischief purpose, but we're also ready for people like that. But we are confident that only last week, we invited our national chairman, interim national chairman, invited all the state chairmen to Abuja to reassure them that we are not here to take over the party and push them away. We are going to be partners in building this together. So, and that, to a very large extent, has curbed some of the kind of complaints that you've had.
So, I mean, other political parties, I would say they're in shambles. There's been so many challenges. In short, that is why some of them have come to your party. So, what is the ADC doing to shock absorb itself from whatever, made some of those persons leave their platform to come under the ADC?
Those who left their parties probably left for two reasons. They had their own internal contradictions and that they couldn't resolve. But we could also see that there is hand of government, and government operatives in some of the crises that were happening in the parties. And like you rightly noted, this is why what made this coalition inevitable, as it were. So we are not concerned about that. In fact, we anticipated it, we expected it. We don't think the government any government that can destroy a party like the PDP, should be taken seriously in terms of what they are capable of doing to destabilize opposition. But what we are saying in essence is that for us, one of the things which I alluded to earlier, one of the things that we have managed to achieve already is that we have, more than anything else, rescued Nigeria from a steady decline into a one-party state. Everyone is now forced to notice that there is an opposition party in this country. We'll continue to work on other things. We'll continue to strengthen ourselves. It's a marathon. We still have a long way to go. But the situation that confronted us about 8 weeks ago, before the emergence of this party, was that there was probably no opposition party to speak of in this country. That was dangerous, and it should not have been allowed to happen.
So let's talk policy. What does the ADC have for Nigerians? We have insecurity, we have economic hardship, and I mean, those are very key for Nigerians at this particular time. So what's with policy for the ADC?
You see, some of these issues might look like they are different, but they're actually interconnected. This government did not start the challenges that Nigerians are facing. The problem of poverty did not start with them. For example, the problem of poor health care did not start with them. But the question is, what kind of solutions did they try to introduce, or have they introduced to solve this problem? One example, the removal of fuel subsidy.
Which everybody said they will do.
Which everybody said they would do. But how did they say they were going to do it? You see, the question is not whether you remove subsidy or you don't remove subsidy. The question is, one, did you give yourself sufficient time to consider the implication or the consequence of removal of subsidy, sudden removal of subsidy, without the right safety nets for your people? Did you do that? That is one. Number two, what policy mix are you considering when you were starting out? This government, in one fell swoop, removed subsidy 100%.
But you
floated the
on
naira.
what they have done. What will
Yeah,
you
that's
do
what I'm saying. You cannot solve a problem if you don't understand it. So what we are saying is that if we are coming and say we are alternative, so we are saying that the price of petrol will go down.
How will it go down?
How will it go down? You have to revisit the question of subsidy. And like I said, the question is not whether you retain subsidy or not. Are you giving subsidy to those who need it? You, for example.
So are you trying to say that the ADC will bring back fuel subsidy?
That's not what I'm saying exactly. What I'm telling you, that ADC will ensure that the people who need subsidy get subsidy, that we don't subsidize people who don't need it. Now, the hard work here is developing a system that ensures that subsidies are targeted at the people who need it.
Is that system
ADC?
At the moment.
Come on, give us a break. It's three old 1 week party. Why?
Because
so what I'm saying is that I'm telling you the vision. No, I can
saying.
tell you the vision that we have. So if you are asking me whether those policies are in place, I will tell you when we are ready, we'll roll out our manifesto to Nigerians. So if you are asking me is what is the vision of our party, I'm telling you what the vision is. So, and what is the vision? The vision is that we are going to ensure we make life more meaningful for Nigeria.
So how
we are
about
going to reduce.
insecurity?
Hang on a second, I'm coming to that. Will you allow me to please answer your question? You're asking me about policy, and that's what I like to discuss, right?
Yes.
So what I'm saying is that subsidy will be targeted at the people who need subsidy. The problem is 100% subsidy, blanket subsidy for everyone is bad. Blanket removal of subsidy for everyone is equally bad. If you have 4 SUVs, for example, because the way I'm looking at you, you look like someone who has many cars. So if you have 4 SUVs and you're asking me to give you subsidy, that is wrong. You don't need subsidy. But a woman who wants to transport her vegetables from the village to the market needs subsidy. Right? So it means that the transportation that will take her from the village to the market needs to be subsidized. So the ADC solution is to pursue alternative offering of subsidy in such a way that the people who need subsidy are those who will get it. We don't have enough time for me to break this down for you, but I'm saying that a lot of work is going on at the moment.
So how about
to ensure insecurity?
How does the ADC view insecurity in the country?
Our understanding of insecurity is that the fundamental infrastructure of security is no longer there. What is fueling this insecurity is that we no longer as a country have the capacity to govern our own spaces. Niger State alone is bigger than many West African countries put together. How many policemen are in Niger State? So there has to be an alternative political security arrangement, an alternative policing framework that can, and that's why in our ranks you see former inspector generals, you see former security chiefs, and we are saying that behind, I'm not even talking about all kind of shady dealings going on, right? I'm talking about solving the problem of insecurity. When this administration started, you say I should stop talking about problem, but I won't stop talking about problem because this is what concerns Nigerians. When this administration started, insecurity is probably restricted to a particular part of the country. My state, Kwara State, used to be one of the most peaceful states in Nigeria. We call ourselves state of harmony. But bandits have also started entering our state and it's spreading everywhere. So the thing we are not asking ourselves is what is fueling this banditry? What is driving banditry? ADC is committing to ending banditry in Nigeria.
Now, that's the rhetoric, but you look at someone like Showore, he said, the ADC is recycled politicians, even though some persons in his team, like DG, the lawyer, has said, publicly criticize him, like, why don't you just get on board with the coalition instead of criticizing them. So, I mean, we've heard the stories, beautiful manifestos.
But
These
can
are
you tell
things
me
we've
alternative?
heard.
Can you tell me the alternative to manifesto?
It's not about, I don't think the issue is about alternatives. It's about getting the trust of Nigerians.
But we can only get our trust, the Nigerians' trust, if we have the opportunity to deliver on our promise.
So let's go to the issue of who will lead the ticket. I mean, Peter Obi has expressed his interest.
Yes.
Rotimi Amechi has. Atiku Abubakar signals that he's interested in. I mean, these are issues that, threw PDP under the bush. Yes. So how will that challenge be resolved?
I've answered that question. I said ADC will provide an open and transparent platform for anyone desirous of contesting the presidency to come out and slug it out. Our members will vote for a candidate of their
I hope we will not see the issue of dollars being, spread around, because that is another thing that a lot of Nigerians are concerned about. That this is what happens when you have delegates being bought.
I did not tell you now that there will be delegates. Did I tell you there will be delegates?
So I said you're not going to have that form
I'm not telling you.
selection.
I'm not telling you anything. But what I'm telling you is that ADC will ensure that our primaries is transparent. It provides equal opportunity for everyone. It will not be manipulated, and it will not be bought.
So you're saying, apart from these key persons that have declared interest, anybody within the ADC can?
If you join ADC today, you can declare your interest.
So how about the party forms? What's going to be the price like? Because that's also something that Nigerians are concerned about. That if you want to guarantee credibility and fairness, then we should not have stupendously, dubious amounts as the amount to get the ticket.
Your advice
So how much will the ADC pay me for my advice?
I don't know. You see this conversation about who will fly the party's ticket, how much you will sell forms. These are conversations that we have not even got into. The biggest challenge is the challenge that you have outlined. How do we convince Nigerians that we represent the alternative? This is the most important challenge that we have. So the housekeeping issues about, okay, what kind of modalities will we use for our primaries to ensure equity? How much tickets will be, party forms will be sold? That's a conversation that we're going to have in the future. The most important thing is that we are a new party. We are trying to build our party into a strong, formidable opposition party, and at the same time, with an eye for the future, while we confront the biggest challenge, which is Nigerians will listen to us. Nigerians will look at us and say, oh, it's the same people. Nigeria will listen to us and they'll say, oh, we've had this, like you said, rhetoric before, right? So how do we convince Nigerians that we mean very seriously what we are talking about and that we are committed to delivering our promises? So that's for me. This and for the leadership of ADC, this is the most important challenge. How do we convince younger people that this is their party, and that if any of them is desirous of playing politics, ADC is the place to go? How do we convince them? So for us, these are the most important issues. So when we get to the bridge of how do we do our primaries to ensure everybody is happy? How do we hold the party together after the primaries? We will cross it, but we are not there yet.
All right. Well, our time is up. I want to thank you so much, Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, for being with us on the show today. Thank you so much, folks. And I hope when we call you next time, you gladly make yourself available to come to us.
I'll be very happy always.
Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you for the honor of inviting me.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
All right, and that's our show for tonight. Many thanks for being with us. Stay with us Wednesday for more insight into Nigeria's political future. Once again, my name is Morno Balagbobo. Thank you for watching.